I am thankful to see a few bodies walking into the room on the camera. Thank you for the introduction. My name is Brandon Muramatsu. I work with the Digital Credentials Consortium at the Massachusetts Institute of Technology. Today, I thought I'd give a very brief overview of the Digital Credentials Consortium, talk a little bit about verifiable credentials, since they're a little important as part of the work that we do with the Learner Credential Wallet, and then do a live demo. Digital Credentials Consortium is a group of 12 universities from North America and Europe that have come together to build an academic infrastructure for academic credentials in the future. So it's sort of very timely as far as the conference goes. You would have heard earlier in the conference from the folks at TUM and HPI talking about the DBHO project. I think they also mentioned or referenced the Learner Credential Wallet as part of that work. The vision for the Digital Credentials Consortium is to create an education landscape to increase learner agency and promote equitable learning and career pathways. We want to do this by creating trusted, distributed, and shared infrastructures for issuing, storing, displaying, and verifying digital credentials. And I'll mention briefly sort of what is a digital credential. It's a data-based digital representation of a diploma, a degree, a program certificate, or a workshop certificate. I have an example on the screen showing things like a name of the credential, so GT Guide, the university it comes from, example university in this case, description of the credential, who it was issued to. Each of these exists as a separate data field that you can then do things with. Some of the guiding principles and values of the consortium. We have a commitment to learner agency. We want to ensure that individuals are able to control their own credentials, that that control is not mediated or must have to run through organizations like they do currently. So in the United States, universities issue degrees or award and confer degrees. There is a system set up by which graduates can get copies of their degrees, they get their diploma from their university, but then there's a third party that ends up managing much of the ongoing relationship with people verifying and checking on their the validity of their degrees. We want to put that back in the control of the individual. We think that individual issuers, universities, programs, employers, boot camps, any of the sorts of organizations that might want to issue a credential have the control over what those credentials are and can design and develop a credential that's useful for them. And we have a strong commitment to open processes, standards, and software. So all of the work we do is in open source. All of the work we do is through open standards organizations. And one of the related points on trust is that you can verify these credentials without having to go back to the original issuer. And I'll explain a little bit more of that in the demo. How do we do our work? We work through the World Wide Web Consortium. We work with One EdTech, formerly IMS Global, on standards such as open badges. We have connections to international efforts, such as those going on in Europe and then across North America. All of our software is developed and published as open source through our GitHub account. And then individual DCC members, those 12 universities, each have their own deployments and work to issue digital credentials. And we have what we call a technology working group, where we come together and sort of work out the technical details of how to accomplish this. A little bit about verifiable credentials. This is a slide or a diagram from the W3C verifiable credentials data model. It talks about the important actors in a system. So there's an issuer, like college or university. There's a holder, like a learner or you or me or anybody in the room who has received a credential. There's a verifier, who might be an employer, might be a graduate school, and then there's some sort of data registry for understanding which issuers are reputable and should be trusted, and which schemas or how are the credentials described? Are they described in a way that's accepted and is trustworthy? And the work that DCC does is we work in each of these areas. We have software that allows DCC members to issue credentials, so that's sign and verify. Today I'll be talking about the next bit, which is the Learner Credential Wallet, which is what allows an individual to carry their credentials with them. We have the thing called Verifier Plus that allows anyone to come and verify a credential. I'll talk more about that. And then we have a set of registries to demonstrate trust of which issuers you should trust. Learner Credential Wallet. The wallet, it's a key component of the ecosystem. It is one of the sort of obvious ways where if you have a wallet on your phone like this, which you can maybe barely see on the screen, you can carry your credentials with you. So all of my credentials can be entirely within my control. The work we've done establishes a reference implementation. So it implements all of the international standards, and it demonstrates what's possible. It is open source and freely available. It's based off a specification that we wrote and published back in May of last year to describe the key features of what a credential wallet should include. It's hosted on GitHub, and we've done deployment pilots with universities in the United States, and we've been working with the DBHO project in in Germany to have support their use for their proof of concept. We've also participated in what are called plugfests or interoperability plugfests. One of the keys in the ecosystem is that individuals should have a choice of their wallet. They should be able to choose where and how they store their credentials, and they should also be able to choose where and to whom they share those credentials. So there's been an effort, an international effort underway. There was just a plugfest a couple weeks ago where wallet providers from across the world came together to demonstrate interoperability. So interoperability in this case means I as an individual can choose to use a number of different wallets to store my credentials, and that I can then get credentials like a diploma or a degree into that wallet from a number of different sources. So this is not something that was necessarily possible before. The community started working together to make sure that we could actually move credentials from different systems, issuing systems, or different universities to different wallets. Oops. The Learner Credential Wallet has both iOS and Android versions. It's available from lcw.app. I'll talk about some of the key and show some of the key phrases. There's a passphrase to enable with biometric support. It's standards compliant. It implements many of the key standards. You can add credentials via QR code or from links on web pages. I'll show an example of loading a credential from a learning management system. The process that we use, there are a couple different processes we use to verify the individual receiving the credential is the one who should be receiving the credential. I'll show one of those processes in the live demo, and then you can share those credentials with others. This is the website homepage. You can download the credentials from the app stores now. Excuse me one sec. And now I'm going to do a live demo. And so, as they say, never do a live demo. So let's see, on the screen there, yep, you're seeing the Learner Credential Wallet. So this is downloaded on my phone. This is my live phone. You maybe can see this. I'm holding it in front of my camera. So I've downloaded the software. I've installed it. I'm going to go through quick setup. Let me talk very briefly about custom. Actually, no, I can't do that. Let's do that. I'm going to do a quick setup. I enter a passphrase to protect the wallet. I turn on biometrics. It goes through and creates the wallet. And once I get to the wallet, I have an empty wallet. So what do I do? How do I get credentials into the wallet? I can add a credential by scanning a QR code, or I can go to, oops, you get to see all of the stuff I'm doing, a learning management system. So here I'm logged into the live Georgia Tech Canvas learning management system. I had to log in order to get this screen. I can go ahead and add the credential from the wallet, add the credential to the wallet from this screen. So this is the text they've come up with. I tap the link that's there. It asks me if I want to open it in the wallet. I say yes. This is the check where the issuer, in this case Georgia Tech, is able to have some sense of trust in that the person requesting this credential is the person to whom it's supposed to go. So I need to sign in again. And so I'm taken to Georgia Tech's single sign-on system. I will enter my username and password. Ooh. I can't show you that today. That was working 2 days ago. So we are going to cheat and come back here. So this is the flow we were just seeing. I was opening the credential in the wallet. I sign in. If I successfully was able to sign in, if my credentials still worked, I would see the credential presented to me from within the wallet. I can choose to accept it, add it to the wallet, then I get to see it on the home screen. If I previewed the credential, I could see the details on the credential. These are the details that Georgia Tech or the program at Georgia Tech decided to describe. So they've got things like the name, it's a test credential, when it was issued, who it was issued to, and a description of the credential. And then I can check the verification. So this is one of the key features of verifiable credentials and these sorts of digital credentials, that there are cryptographic signatures from the issuing institution, Georgia Tech, that say, yes, we have signed this credential, we have issued this credential, and that you can then go back and confirm that the signatures haven't changed. So this credential is a valid digital signature, it hasn't expired, and it hasn't been revoked. Those are kind of a couple of the key features. So if you think about your paper diplomas or degrees, you get the degree in the mail. Those are very infrequently revoked. But one of the things that's a lot easier with some of this technology is that you can basically flip a bit and says that you revoke the credential. So that's something that issuing institutions can do. Some of the sharing that you can do. Do I want to do this? Let me get a credential into the wallet. All right, so I'm going to switch back for the moment. So that wasn't working. That wasn't working. Come back here. And so one of the other things I can do is I can add credentials by QR code. And so I just scanned one on the screen. This is effectively the same credential that I was adding before. You should be seeing the credential on the screen there. It has verified. I can go to the homes. I can take a look at the credential itself. I can choose to share this credential. So there are a couple different ways I can share it. I could send the credential. So sending the credential basically saves it as a JSON text file, which is not particularly useful. And so that's the credential. Coming back here, I can also do what's called creating a public link. So creating a public link is something that I'm intending to do. I want to create a publicly available web link to come back and take a look at this credential. So I can go in and create the link. I can view the link, which takes you to a website that we've apparently changed in the last day, that allows you to preview the credential. I can also choose to add the credential to a LinkedIn profile. And so if I'm logged in and have the LinkedIn app on my phone, I can add the credential to my actual LinkedIn profile. Let's get rid of that for the moment. Oops. Remember, I didn't ever finish my joke about never do a live demo. Never do a live demo. This was literally all working the other day. Save it. So this is my actual real LinkedIn profile. And then down under licenses and certifications, you'll see the GT guide that's there. And if the credential link was working, it would resolve to it. So that was kind of a bust. Let me come back over here. So this is what it would look like if the link were working properly. And this is the screenshots of adding it to the LinkedIn profile. And that's the demo. I am happy to answer questions.